A migration of millionaires is taking place. It's estimated that some 2,800 millionaires will arrive on Singapore's shores this year, a nearly 90% increase from 2019.
It's obviously rule of law, it's the developed financial markets, the sophisticated product shelf, a great place to live and work. I think that continues to attract people.
Singapore's handling of the pandemic has also accelerated the inflow of wealth into the city-state.
What the COVID pandemic has actually shown is that people value safety, stability, and predictability in times of crisis. And I think this has certainly enhanced Singapore's brand. So many high net worth individuals and families see Singapore as a safe place to locate and grow their wealth.
Over the years, we have observed a series of geopolitical events, and these events has prompted an affluent international clients to start to rethink if indeed a well-diversified portfolio in their singular home country is adequate to meet the emerging risk itself. As a result, this has prompted him or her to start to look out for a financially stable location that's out of their home country to continue to manage and grow their wealth.
As of late 2021, there were 700 single-family offices in Singapore, according to the MAS. These are private wealth management firms set up by high-net-worth families. The government has established schemes to attract such family offices here, including the Global Investor Program that accords permanent residency status to eligible investors who want to relocate and invest in Singapore.
Increasingly, for the past 2 to 3 years, I do see an uptick in Chinese clients coming to set up family offices in Singapore. In the past, Hong Kong used to be perhaps a bit more vibrant in terms of their capital economy, but right now they do think that perhaps Singapore might be a sort of a safer bet for them. Anecdotally, I have received calls from clients who are saying that, they don't sort of agree with the policies. They think it's something that is inhibiting their sort of wealth management or wealth preservation. They can't conduct businesses in those countries, so they would prefer to manage their wealth somewhere where they think is more pro-business.
The wealth industry is rushing to keep up with the pace of capital inflow. At least one bank here, HSBC, says it's adding 5,000 frontline roles in its wealth sector. Some of the ultra-rich have grabbed headlines with multi-million-dollar luxury property purchases. But experts say in the longer term, Singapore stands to be a beneficiary of the movement of millions, especially given current economic uncertainty. That's in part because tighter government regulations imposed in April require family offices here to invest at least 10% of their assets under management into local investments in order to receive tax incentives. They must also employ at least 2 investment professionals.
It's creating opportunities here for firms to support whether it's the asset management companies, the family offices. So it benefits the professional services sector. It creates work for tax advisors, for accountants, for solicitors. It helps to upskill people, particularly in the wealth sector in Singapore. But also the capital pool that it generates gets deployed into various asset classes.
In particular, it could prove a catalyst for the ESG, or environmental, social, and governance sector.
Many of these companies that are coming here are very, very strong on wanting to look at renewables. So green jobs, that's a whole new arena. So I do see even our family-owned businesses in Singapore benefiting from this, because they would say, we will love a partner and you have a certain strength, so maybe you're very strong in a particular technology. Mixed with my technology, we can do magic, and then we can take this JV overseas.
Still, government incentives and regulations play an important role to ensure the investments are channeled into sectors that benefit the wider economy.
When we have the high net worth individuals, the ultra-rich families moving to Singapore, then the question is, how is their wealth being put into use? Is it being put into use in productive ways? So, for example, if you look at the tax incentive, there's a list of designated investments. So only when the family office is investing the money in those lists of designated investments, then they get the tax incentive.
And then we need some diversification. We don't want all of them to come from one country. Yeah. So again, minimum size, tiered spending, and the most critical, they must employ investment professionals too from Singapore. And previously they can be one of the family members, but this time it must additional two on top of a family member. So it's higher, all right, higher barrier to entry. We want to make sure that they are significant families who definitely want to help build sustainability, build impact through the Singapore office. The impact should go beyond just monetary value.
A possible spanner in the works could be the imposition of some form of a wealth tax, as recently signalled by the government. The challenge is to ensure that does not dent Singapore's status as a wealth hub.
How our government works is that in terms of wealth taxes, they will calibrate it very, very carefully. I don't think we'll go into a situation where we have net wealth taxes, where you actually tax on your physical taxable net assets.
A more viable approach would be to look at areas which we wish to incentivize and areas which we would like to de-incentivize, right? So this means structuring a wealth tax system that is probably uniquely Singapore, one that supports our open economy, productivity, entrepreneurial culture, and foreign investments, but at the same time addresses issues like land scarcity and climate change. So, for example, we can consider a tiered approach towards property, imposing higher stamp duty on buyers of good class bungalows, for example, or high-end properties.
Experts say it may be too early to feel the impact of investments made in Singapore by the ultra-rich. But they agree that keeping Singapore open to capital and talent is key to growth, especially in the uncertain times ahead.
We don't have much natural resources, and I think for financial clout, we do need these people come in to invest and use Singapore as a platform to invest in, the surrounding Southeast Asian region. We need this capital to drive the economy.